And here we go. Okay, it's just gonna take me a second because I have to go to all Facebook pages to post it.
Whose background noise is that? Can we take turns muting our thing real quick?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, I'll go first.
It's gone.
Is it my phone?
It could be my dog's bells.
You mute yours. No, I think it's in the computer.
All right, so just so you know, people are going to start clicking and listening to us. And I have one more link to post. I'm definitely not. This one, that one.
Mine was just muted and I heard it. We just mute mine.
All right, you guys ready? All right, welcome everyone to the Women's Georgia Kickball Open PillowTalk Podcast. I'm Macy, and we have Claire from Lisa Frank Kickball. You can just say hi. We have Becca from Bombshells.
Hey.
And we have Sarah from Mile High. So, before we get really involved into kickball, I have a super personal question to ask everyone, and that is your middle name. So, my middle name is actually B. It looks like it's my last name on Facebook, and a lot of people pronounce it bad, but my family's from the Midwest, so they call everyone by two names, and B is mine. Becca, what is your middle name?
All the Chicken Nuggets girls from Denver know this already, but Fran. So Rebecca Fran Lewis. Good old Fran.
Awesome.
In the questionnaire, I can't beat that.
But I was so embarrassed in elementary school, I told people that my name was Frankenstein just because I thought it was better.
Becca Frankenstein Lewis. Yeah, that's definitely better. Claire, care to reveal your middle name?
My middle name is Claire.
That is true.
My name is Claire Payne.
What's your first name, though?
Fuck you guys, it's Julia.
So we actually found out that Claire's real name was Julia about 5 minutes ago, and we are outing her on BNN right now for millions of viewers worldwide.
Well, I get why you said that she was going to have to reveal that soon.
Yeah, I really have a question plan.
So mine is K. Mine's K, and it stands for kickball.
I don't believe you.
No, I as well was embarrassed by my middle name for different reasons than Becca, and so I used to tell people it was Kick.
That's a lot better than Frankenstein.
No. Tara Kick? That sounds
appropriate.
Okay, well, thank you guys for disclosing such a personal detail. Okay, so we are coming up. This is the last tournament before CCC for both co-ed and women's. This is the first year that each and every tournament had both a co-ed and a women's event, which is awesome, which means there have been a lot of them. And so I just want to get everyone's thoughts on how the season went. That means, did teams do better than you thought they would do? Were there some teams that you didn't even see coming that ended up doing really well? And doing really well doesn't necessarily mean winning tournaments, but you might have some insight on seeing different teams playing against them, playing with them. And then how regionalization impacted that. So did this actually do whatever people were fearing of having teams lose players and not have enough people to compete? Did it bring new teams forward out of regions that we had multiple teams from? And did it weaken or strengthen some of the teams that were already in existence? So it's a lot of information to take in. We're going to go through just like general thoughts of overall season completion, obviously before getting to what will happen this weekend. So Claire, let's hear from you about your season wrap-up thoughts.
I don't know. I guess teams that I didn't really see as like threats or anything was like Plastics in Denver did better than I had ever imagined that they were going to do. I didn't really know anybody besides Rosa because I played with her with high beams in Jacksonville last year, and I didn't really see them as like any sort of like a threat or a team that would go even make it past a limbs in Denver. But they did really well as Valley Fever when they played against you guys in Portland. I wasn't expecting them to make it out of a limbs. I didn't expect LFK to ever make it out of a limbs, which is, I shouldn't say that because I'm on that team. But, you know, I feel like we've come a long way. We practice a lot. But as for regionalization, I don't think it's really impacted. It may have, maybe for some other teams, but I don't think it has for us because, I mean, we've added a couple girls that are out of our region recently. And so I don't think it's impacted anything seriously. So, yeah.
Cool. And adding those girls out of region, were they people who were coming from teams that were broken down, or were they new kickballers?
A couple of the girls, they were Vegas girls, so they came from Empire, and then other girls hadn't played in like the leagues, so
cool.
Hadn't played before. Yeah.
Tara, what do you think about this season? How it compares to what you thought going into it versus what actually ended up happening?
So is it really just about teams and then how regionalization? You said a lot. Can you recap real quick?
Yeah, no, I mean it's about what you thought might happen as far as actual teams, what you anticipated happening with teams doing well or not well, and what it actually looked like this year, and whether or not regionalization did have an impact on which teams stayed together, which teams showed up to a lot of tournaments, what new teams emerged, just kind of the overall way that the cards fell with all the teams.
So as far as like new teams versus old teams, I think a lot in the girls space, a lot of the new teams that were forming were already local, like Colorado Wildfire and VJs and stuff. And so with the grandfather, like this year, I don't think we saw an impact of teams falling first teams would have to fall, and then I think people would start forming teams in their region, and that's going to create the growth. But I don't think there was too much of that on the girls' side, at least. I don't think even the attendance was affected by it, because where an established team couldn't come because they couldn't field another player from out of region, Available's team cropped up because a lot of people are very interested in the girls' side, and it's really picking up, so they're starting to play and they want to go to a lot of tournaments. So I think attendance-wise, it to me seemed pretty similar to last year. I actually thought it would fall, so that was surprising to me. I know you have a lot of girls out there captaining these Availables teams over and over and getting more and more girls interested. So not a lot of girls are going to do it on their own, but if they know someone's out there helping facilitate everything, they'll go. I think there's some teams that, because there was a girls tournament at every event, decided to go to a lot more tournaments, and you can see already the improvement they've made from the first tournament of this year, maybe not even making the limbs, to making the semis or the finals. I know Wildfire and VJs and the Plastics all, may not have made a limbs in the beginning of the year at a tournament, but because they were able to go to so many, and you kind of have the choice not only of only the ones around you, and there may only be one or two last year. Now every tournament has one, and a lot of them are connected to guys that are going to the co-ed ones too, so that helps. So I think some teams got better that were newer, and then older teams that have been in the game or were grandfathered, I don't really think it impacted them that much.
Cool. Thank you. Becca, what do you think about the season wrap up?
Claire and Tara pretty much took most of it, but I would agree. The teams that impressed me the most in terms of up and coming this year, Colorado Wildfire. My availables team played them in Denver, and it was a great game. Probably the best game of the day besides the one we played in the finals against Mile High. Plastics, I played them in Nashville with a different availables team, and they just can keep improving, similar to Lisa Frank, actually. So all three teams were the ones that I had thought about ahead of time. In terms of regionalization, I agree it didn't affect the numbers as much as I thought it would. But I also think we have to consider the fact that there were fewer events this year. So with fewer events, people are going to travel more to the events that are out there, also having women's at each event. The thing, though, that hasn't been mentioned is the fact that teams like Shots Fired and Unleashed have formed and created somewhat of like super teams as established teams that have been created out of two other teams that were previously established teams. And we have seen some established teams collapse, including Empire. Now, even Bombshells is doing well because of it, because we were able to pick up two girls from Empire when they collapsed, since they're in Florida. But it's still something just to consider. It definitely didn't have as much of a negative effect as I had anticipated it having when I first heard the rules.
And one thing to note on that is, like I said, this year I don't think it did, but I think even Mile High is going to have a very big issue trying to field a team next year. Like, you're from Colorado. Why would you not join Colorado Wildfire? They're awesome. They're up and coming. They're going to every tournament. Like, that's what hungry girls want. You know, at this point, it's not a huge gap between the two, whereas before people could cherry pick from a team. Even if Mile High was in Dallas, the Jingles is there. So we could have a struggle. The teams that were grandfathered in now could have a struggle staying alive for years to come.
Yeah, I think those are all good points. And aside from just the teams that were mentioned, I think that one of the teams that I at least saw what I felt was more tournaments than before was Valley Fever. I felt like I saw them show up a lot more, even to some tournaments that Haboobs have notoriously attended. Valley Fever showed up a lot. I think that we saw a lot more coast-to-coast traveling. There was a lot of tournaments where both the West Coast and the East Coast and the middle of America were represented, which, again, we had some great turnout for tournaments in Portland. Atlanta is the biggest one, and these are all coastal places. So I think that's pretty cool. And that kind of segues us into this weekend. We have a very, very big tournament. I believe this is the largest tournament of the year for the women's side. There are 6 pools of 4 teams. So narrowing it down to our top 8 isn't easy. That gave us, each pool plays everyone that's within it, as well as one crossover game. So before we go to anything else, I'm just going to have one of you give your top 8, and then we'll move through it. And Kara, I'm going to start with you. And if you want to disclose how you came about your top 8, and otherwise you can just kind of list them off.
Well, I came across my top 8 with a huge internal battle. It's hard. Like I've told many people, the gaps are getting smaller and smaller. 3 years ago, you go into a tournament and 2 teams have a possibility of winning. And now I can't even pick a top 8 because I feel like 9 have a possibility of winning. So I guess I'll start with the obvious self-absorbed answer of Mile High. And then I'll go with Bombshells, who I think is very hungry for a win this time. I'm going to put DMV and Flying VJs up there as well. Flying VJs to me is very offensively sound, and if you throw the ball around against them, they'll get some runs on you. Peachy Keen, because that's No C's team, right? Okay. she always puts together a great team, and people just have fun. And so when you have fun, you kind of play out of your mind. I'm also, and they also have Nat, who her hand looked so gross I would have thrown up myself, and she continued to play in our finals game and throw people out, so she's just a beast. I'll do shots fired because, well, they haven't not made the Elite Eight since they started this year, and they're very good. Union and Unleashed. All those teams consistently, the last three consistently make the top 8. I think those are, I don't want to say shoo-ins, but kind of unless they don't have people that I don't know about or don't play up to their ability, I think they're going to make the top 8 even in one of the best tournaments of the year.
Cool. Thanks, Sarah. Don't worry, everyone else will get their turn to answer. But first, we're going to play a little game. And this game is called Who Said It? And you basically have 2 options. One option is real big fan of the podcast, Derek Young Runner Johnson. And your other option is a celebrity Twitter account. So I'm going to read a quote, and you're going to have to tune in and say whether it was Derek Young Runner Johnson or a celebrity. You do not have to name the celebrity. I will disclose who it was after. So if you think that you know the answer once I read the quote, just go ahead and raise your hand and I will call on you. And our first quote is, "I got this king-size Snickers for that ass." Sarah.
Celebrity.
Incorrect. Actually, Derek Young Runner Johnson did post that publicly to his Facebook for everybody to read. Once again, if you didn't hear the quote, it was, "I got this king-size Snickers for that ass." All right. Your next quote is, "I'm having sex with somebody mama tonight. Put kids to bed." Becca.
Young Runner.
Becca gets 1 point. That was a Young Runner. He actually posted that this last weekend. Public for the world to see. All right, Becca, congrats. You get the first point awarded for the game.
Hey, you didn't say we were keeping score.
Oh,
We're
sorry.
always competing, Tara.
Everyone's a winner here.
She's like, sorry, not sorry.
All right, this next one is, "I was spanked, therefore I shall spank. Mama did a good job, LOL."
Julia, you have to guess.
Oh.
Claire?
I'm going to say celebrity, hopefully. Cross your fingers.
You got it, Claire. Nick Cannon actually tweeted that.
God damn it.
Okay,
If Derek had said that, I would have been a little.
Your next quote is, "I'm going to baby oil myself down on Snapchat." Becca.
I'm going with Young Runner.
You are correct. That indeed.
That just sounds like something he would say.
Don't they all? All right. The next one is short and sweet. It's "got that morning wood for you." Tara.
Young Runner.
You got it. Tara is on the board. Your next quote is, "My mind is set on freak mode."
Claire, it's got to be you.
Celebrity, hopefully. I don't.
Claire, you are incorrect. It is
Of course I am.
by Derek Young Runner Johnson. Your next quote is, "Do ants have dicks?" Tara.
Young Runner.
Incorrect. That was actually from Kourtney Kardashian.
Damn it. Courtney's fucking me up.
Last 2. "Put yourself in my shoes." Oh wait, that would have meant you would have gotten too much good pussy in your life. Becca.
That's Young Runner. It's got to be.
That's actually incorrect. It was Kanye West.
No, he stole that from Young Runner.
I bet Young Runner said it first.
And finally, your last quote is, I got a boner today in practice.
Young runner.
Young runner. It's got to be young runner.
Correct. That was young runner. And Becca, I think you ran away with it. Just be real proud of yourself for winning that game. All right, guys. Thank you for playing Who Said It? Claire, why don't you let us know who your top 8 picks for this weekend are?
So I'm there with Tara with Mile High and Bombshells, as well as Shots Fired and Unleashed. I think you said Shots Fired and Unleashed in your top 8. Yeah. And then I was going with Cheetahs and Untouchables, and then Union and obviously LFK. I don't really, obviously Mile High, because Mile High is going to murder us all at all times, as well as Bombshells and when Becca brought up Shots Fired and Unleashed, you have to commend them for making those teams that are just, they're going to bunt Grand Slam on you if they can, it's going to happen. So yeah, I mean, I hope that we make it to the top 8, and I know, I didn't even think about Peachy Keens, Nosy always puts together a really great team. Obviously, San Diego, was that Nosy's team? Dead Prez? Yeah, so exactly, look at that. And then Chicken Nuggets had a great run in Denver, so I really should have had that on my radar, but yeah.
All right, cool. Becca, why don't you go ahead and give us your top 8?
Sorry, being distracted by people in the room. So this was really hard as I was thinking about this. And there are going to be some crazy first round matchups for limbs, but obviously I went with Bombshells, as well as Mile High, Shots Fired, Unleashed. Tara and Claire laid that out quite nicely as to why. I think pretty dominant teams, Mile High, Shots Fired, Unleashed, always giving good games. Then after that, Union also got a new addition of Lil Bit, who love playing with her, and we're going to actually get to play against her. So they're going to add some speed to the top of their lineup. Crystal's a great pitcher. They have a ton of experience there. And with getting Little Bit, they do get Eric, who is #1 team dad. Then I had Untouchables, another super athletic team, really fast. Peachy Keen, that triangle is going to be nasty. And then in the 8 spot, I put All In. I mean, we got to respect them. All In always gives Bombshells a great game. And that their Charger, who I don't actually know her name, even though we've played her multiple times, is just a complete game changer. So there's my 8.
Cool. I think those are all viable options as well. And I think that before I give you guys my 8 picks, I'm going to put everyone to the test with our first round of Marry, Fuck, Kill.
Yes.
So this one makes me extremely nervous, even though I know the choices that are coming. I do try and make themes out of the people who are up. And by popular demand, the first group of people that you have to choose from are famous for their Instagram and social media food posts. So this is the hashtag Keep Up group. And here are your choices. Choice number 1, Dawn Prince. Take good luck. Choice number 2, Take Him. Take another good luck. And to round out this group of 3 with their food is Ant.
Oh, no.
You have choice number 1, Dawn, choice number 2, Tay, and choice number 3, Ant. All right. So, Claire, you're up first. Marry, fuck, kill.
I always have to go first. Probably Tay. I'm gonna marry him because look at the way he treats that hamburger. Just so nice. And now I don't know Don Prince. I feel like I should, because he literally, every time I go to the Circuit Kickball page, he's like always on there, like no matter what. He's just like, comment. Always has something to say. But I guess I'll kill Don Prince because that outfit is just horrendous, and fuck Ant, because he's all that's left.
Oh, okay. Now the reason. Gotcha. Tara, what do you say?
Well, I really do like Don, but he's up against two of my best friends, so he's got to go. And I love you. I'll fuck you on the way out, Don. And then I'm obviously going to marry Tay because we're a package deal. And if I was there, he would have shared that hamburger with me. And then Ant's my babes, and I'll fuck him. And Kristen may not find out about one fuck, but if I married Ant, holy shit, she'd kill my ass. I'm scared of her.
Okay, good call.
I love her too. She can join when me and Ant get together.
Kristen, if you're you heard it here first. Becca, you are up.
So I played with Don once. Really, really nice guy, but he hates on pitch intent so hard, so he has to go. Sorry, Don. If you didn't hate on our name so much, maybe it could be different. Then between Tay and Ant, I would say, I don't know. Tay's more fun to hang out with, I think, and I can't take Ant from Kristen, even though I love you, Ant. I like Kristen more, I think, which is okay, and you told me that's okay. So, Ant, I'll fuck you, and I'll marry Tay.
Okay, I like it.
I'm consistent.
Yeah. Well,
Don, I love you still.
Yeah, I can't believe it. I'm actually gonna change up answers here. I do really like Don, and I'm going to Baltimore in a couple weeks. And he and Ashley offered up their guest room for me, which is super nice. So I think I'll marry Don. My boyfriend just sat down next to me as I'm answering this question right now.
Good thing you didn't say fuck Don, and the one night you're gonna stay there. Hey, Emmett.
Hi.
I think I'm gonna sleep with Tay because he's just like.
You gonna do what?
He's like, I don't know. He just seems like he would just be really nice. And then I feel really bad because I'm playing with Anthony this weekend. But I guess, sorry, you gotta go. And those are my.
Bye, babes.
Oops. All right, ladies. In addition to being stellar athletes, I have heard that most of the women in the circuit are also very intelligent. And we are going to put that to the test with the first ever Women's Pillow Talk Podcast Spelling Bee.
Oh, shit. I'm good at math, Macy.
Well, Tara, hopefully you can compute some letters together today. Tara, you get to go first. And your first word is referee. The referee really blew that call.
Are you talking about Seth? Oh, sorry. I thought we were answering the question.
You're going to spell the word referee.
R-E-F-E-R-E-E.
That is correct. Great job, Tara. You're still in the game. Becca, your word is initially. Initially, I thought about killing Tay, but then I changed my mind and thought that Anthony was the one to go. Initially.
God, I know I'm a teacher, but I can't spell for shit. I-N-I-T-I-A-L-L-Y.
Great job, Becca. You get to stay in the game.
You have good handwriting.
All right, Claire, your word is encroachment. During one particular tournament, I was called for encroachment 5 times.
Shit.
One game.
One game.
One game.
encroachment. Encroachment.
Wow, everyone, you are still
that.
in the game. This is quite exciting. Tara, your next word is restaurant.
Time out. I wrote some words down for you.
No? That's not that word.
Sorry, what did you say?
Restaurant. you and Tay like to eat at the same restaurant together.
That's true. It's not true or false. Restauraant. Restaurant.
Woo! That is correct. Sarah is also still in the game. Becca, your next word is cuckoo. The cuckoo bird came out of the clock and then quickly went back in. Cuckoo.
Is that even a real word?
Yeah, it's a real word and a real word.
COOCOO. KOO. Shit.
That is incorrect. Becca, you are out.
You should have good like peacock.
Unfortunately, disqualified from the spelling bee, and we are down to just Tara and Claire. Claire, your next word is caterpillar.
Caterpillar. CATERPILLAR.
She got the R one. Caterpillar is correct. Tara, your next word is assassin. Sometimes there's an assassin that gets the bad guy. I don't have a good sentence for this one.
ASSIN.
Woo! You got the two asses.
I have a list. It helps.
There you go. That's a lie, everyone. No one has seen this word. Claire, your word is necessary. It is completely necessary to have a spelling bee tonight.
NECESSARY.
Woo! Necessary. That is absolutely correct. Tara, your word is croissant. I went to breakfast and enjoyed a nice cup of coffee with a croissant. Do not
CROISSANT.
Very well. Claire, your word is hygiene. It's very important that everyone practices hygiene, especially during a hot tournament.
HYGIENE. Hygiene.
Ooh, you guys are doing really fantastic.
Once you get around the words.
All right, Tara, your word is facade. I thought that you and I have something special, but it was merely a facade.
Gosh dang it. Is it? I think it's FACADE.
You're right.
Woo. Okay.
All right, Claire, your word is entourage. I have an entourage of stuffed animals on my bed that aren't in the frame right now.
ENTOURAGE. Entourage.
Wow, you guys. Becca, you must be feeling really bad right about now.
Clearly I'm the fun one of the group.
All right.
She's getting to drink her beer. She's lucky.
Tara, your word is colonel. The colonel in the army had a gun.
COLONEL.
What?
Oh, no. COLON. I don't know. I COLON.
You just said 3 O's in a row.
Wait, Colonel?
COOO.
No, COLONEL.
Woo! That's
what I said initially.
Great job. All right, Claire, your word is machete. I threw the machete in somebody's heart.
Sorry, it froze. What's the word?
Machete.
Machete. MACHETE. Machete.
Guys, we're getting near the end. Is there going to be a winner? Tara, please spell diarrhea. Yes, it's really disgusting diarrhea.
DIARREAH.
That is incorrect.
Oh, shit! Literally.
Claire, you spell this word right. You are the winner. Spell pageant. I am not going to be in a pageant anytime soon.
PAGEANT. Pageant.
We have our first spelling bee winner.
So I got running shit, and she got a pretty contest. Like I was just in the shits about my question.
Okay.
I just wanted you to have a winner on your show that you created.
Congratulations, Claire. Everybody else, nice try. To get you guys moving towards your final four for this weekend, my top 8 picks. I also picked Mile High Clubs, Shots Fired, Union, Unleashed, and Bombshells. And then I did pick Peachy Keen. That is the team that I will be playing with, and have loyalty for the squad. I am definitely looking at All In to end up winning their pool. They do have their crasher back. And just in general, I know that they've been working hard, and I don't think they're coming in quietly. I think that they're ready to go all in. And then I've picked a sleeper. I picked Unknown to jump into that top 8. They're actually ranked 3rd in the second pool. And I think they got a little bit of a better cross-pool draw. I really wanted to put the plastics in, and the plastics other pool draw is All In, which I think is a tough draw to have, and I do think that will edge them out of the top 8 and let Unknown kind of crawl into that spot. So those are my top 8 choices. Becca, who are your 4 from the 8 that you chose?
So my 4 are Shots Fired, Mile High, Unleashed, and Bombshells. Not easy to narrow it down. I mean, even to 8 was tough. There are going to be some crazy games and really good matchups. And I could also see a lot of rematches of those crossover games in the quarters, which is going to make it really interesting.
Can you repeat those one more time? Sorry.
Just for you, Tara. Mile High, Shots Fired, Unleashed, and Bombshells.
Cool. Thanks, Becca. Claire, who are your top 4?
Mine are the exact same. I mean, you kind of have to give it to all 4 of those teams that they're really strong competitors that a lot of people have to look out for. You know, like every other team is looking to get to that level of, I mean, it's so easy to watch like Bombshells and Mile High and even now Shots Fired. Like just it looks so natural for everything that they do. Like they just know the motion of the game and know exactly where everyone's going to be. It's just like it's like when I played soccer, I just knew exactly where somebody else was going to be right at that moment in the box soccer field. You just feel it. You just know. So like you have great chemistry on all of those teams that just like mesh really well. And you're never not going to see those 4 teams, especially if they're all at the same tournament in the top 4.
Sarah, do you have anyone different?
I guess to that point, it's really hard a lot because the way that the girls' tournaments have worked out is going in the quote-unquote best 4, even going into into the tournament, haven't ended up because someone drops a game somewhere because all of these 3 seed, 4 seed teams aren't truly 3 seed, 4 seed teams. If you have a bad game, anybody can beat you. You could have a bad game and give up 5 runs, but you're scoring 13, and that's not the case anymore. So this was really hard for me to go from my Elite 8 to the Final 4 because to me it depends on not only who's playing who in the Elite 8, but how is each team playing. Not to call you guys out, but in Denver, no one would have expected y'all to come out that low, and so that kind of throws a wrench in everything. It's like we had to play you coming out first, and either one of us, the top teams in the tournament, 2 of the top teams, could have been out right there. So, you know, there's been times it's been a benefit to have 2 good teams go against each other early and knock each other out, but it's hard to tell. So I think that hopefully we make it Shots Fired. Unleashed, I think, is hungry. And then I think Peachy King or Bombshells, again, No C puts together great teams. They have fun, and they have Nat, you, and who's y'all's pitcher?
Sid.
Yeah, who can go all day and messes a lot of people up. So I think it's going to be interesting. I don't know if any of us are going to be able to predict the top 4 accurately because I think that Elite 8 and the matchups, and then again how people play, how each team plays up to their ability or makes mistakes. I think that's a big deciding factor in the Final Four.
I like it. I think you're right. I think that those top 8 matchups are going to have who we think the top 4 teams are and knocking one another out before we get to that round. I'll let you go on a second, Becca, or
we all went.
You guys all went. So I do think that Mile High Club and Shots Fired will each come out in the 1-2 seed. I do think that they'll win their pool. And then I did pick Peachy Keen to actually win their pool and get a more favorable draw in the Elite 8 than Union. So I think Union's going to end up getting knocked out before that top 4 by one of those really, really top great teams that we've mentioned. And that will let All In creep up to that Final Four spot, in my opinion. And again, I think that's got a lot to do with what's going to happen in pool play and what their draws will be in that 8. So I'm going Mile High Club, Shots Fired, Peachy Keen, and All In as the top 4. And before we get to the last couple bits of the tournament this weekend, as well as some CCC stuff, we do have to talk about our second and final round of Marry, Fuck, Kill. And this is really the one that we've got a lot of men who are fans of the podcast and fans of women's kickball in general. And so I'm going to go ahead and show you who our next choices are. Sorry, I'm just going to share my screen here. And these are people who are all associated with specific women's teams. First and foremost, we have Eastwood, who is with Unleashed. Next up, we have, I actually think he pronounces his name as Ken. It's either Keon or Ken. And he is with All In. And finally, we do have Derek Young Runner Johnson. He is dying to be part of Marry, Fuck, Kill, so I'm making all of his dreams come true by putting him in. And he is associated with Shots Fired, and I really just think the women's podcast in general. So once again, you have Young Runner, you have Ken, Keon, I'm sorry if I'm butchering your name, and you have Eastwood. So let's go ahead and...
I'll go first.
All right, I like it.
All right, I'm just going to fuck Young Runner so that maybe he'll just leave me alone after that. Not just kidding. I mean, I am just kidding. Eastwood's actually the only one of the 3 I personally know, but I'm going to kill him because he's very loud during games in which I've played with him sometimes. And sometimes he argues calls for too long, which I do too, but, you know, can't be like me. And then Keon, I guess I'm going to marry. I hope you can cook because I can't.
All right. Claire, what you got?
I'm probably going to go the opposite. In the game when we played All In New Orleans, which got cut short because of the monsoon that was New Orleans last year, I really like the way that he kind of like was coaching the girls and didn't seem like he was like overly, like with a lot of coaches, you get those guys that are like too much and just kind of insert themselves in ways that women don't need or want. But I liked like his presence on the field, like that he had with them. So I'll marry him, I guess.
So Eastwood isn't. Are you talking about Eastwood or Keon? Eastwood doesn't coach All In.
I thought you said he was with All In. That's what Macy said.
He's with Unleashed and Keon.
Okay.
Keon's with All
In. Unleashed. So, fuck Keon because I'm not gonna do those things with Derek based on his social media presence.
Well, I don't fuck boys, so fucking would be not really fucking.
Okay. Lay next to each other.
Demand.
Whatever you want. There you go.
All right, Becca, you're up.
Yeah, similar to Claire, actually, I would kill Young Runner. Sorry, Young Runner, just a little too much at times. And then I don't actually know Keon well. I just know him from like a distance and playing against each other at different points. And Eastwood, I know much better. I've known him for about a year at this point. So I guess I would be marrying Eastwood, and I think right as my boyfriend's about to walk in the room, I'd be fucking Keon.
All right. Gotcha, Becca. Yeah, I think I'm looking pretty similar to you guys. I'm going to marry Eastwood. I think he's got a lot to say, but I do think that he would care about making sure that I like had a good dinner and
I just really blame him because my calf cramped when I was playing his team. So
Yeah.
that's kind of his fault.
If I were you, I would too. I guess I'm gonna sleep with Keon for no other reason except that I'm really antsy to kill Young Runner. Not only for his outlandish social media, but also because my boyfriend's his #1 fan, and he really seems to like all of that attention, and I just wish it would go away forever. So, see you, Young Runner. Sorry, I'm not sorry. And that concludes our Marry, Fuck, Kill. So we are going to get right down to the nitty-gritty for this weekend, which means your final two, the championship matchup, and your winner. Becca, who did you pick?
This was really hard. I mean, I had Bombshells, Shots Fired, Mile High, and Unleashed in my final four. And in my head, I think the most interesting final four matchups would lead Bombshells versus Mile High and Shots Fired versus Unleashed, just because of the history that has with both of those matchups. I mean, go back to Nashville or a few different tournaments with Shots Fired and Unleashed this year, and Bombshells and Mile High. There's so much history there. So I just think those would be the most amusing matchups in the final four. And out of that, I'm going to take Bombshells and Shots Fired. We as Bombshells have not played Shots Fired yet this year. I think it's going to be a great game. I mean, their speed, just every single person on that field is an all-star for them. But I also know we're hungry. I know we've been working hard. And so I got to stick with my own girls, and I got to go with Bombshells.
All right. I like it. I like the loyalty. Tara, who do you have?
I have, so in general, I think Fired is the team to beat. Obviously, they've won the most tournaments this year, and their team is stacked top to bottom. You don't have a top of the lineup or bottom of the lineup. With that being said, I think they're due getting beat before the finals at one point. So I'm going to have somebody beating them. I actually agree with Becca that I think just for entertainment purposes and the way that Kickball 365 always happens to work out, I could see a Final Four, Bombshells, Mile High, Unleashed, Shots Fired. I know there's, Friends, Unleashed, Shots Fired, and I know that it's nothing more makes you happy than, like, you want to beat your friends most. So, I'm going to say Unleashed beats them. Not with 1,000% confidence, but let's just say that one turns out that way because I know it's turned out in Shots Fired favor before. And so I'll go Mile High Unleashed in the finals.
And your winner?
Hopefully us.
Gotcha. Thanks, Tara. Claire?
And I don't want Lisa Fisbeck to cut me before the tournament.
Oh, yeah. She told me that to just, knock you off the podcast if you said something else. Claire,
She killed me.
Claire, who are your final two and then your winner?
So I am totally there with Becca and Tara with it'd be so interesting to see Mile High versus Bombshells and Shots Fired versus Unleashed, but I have a feeling I'd also see it to be interesting to see where Mile High, Unleashed, or Shots Fired and Bombshells versus someone. But I have Mile High and Shots Fired just because they seem to be the two teams that have, I mean, Bombshells are fan-fucking-tastic, and so are Unleashed, but there's just something about those two teams that they're so hungry and so ready and just on it every single time that I've ever seen them play. There's just there's not one single little mistake that they don't like immediately remedy that does not end in like not a single score has happened, no matter what happens. Fucking fire.
I do see Mile High Shepherd actually playing in the semis just because that's how it's been working out with a lot of these tournaments too. The teams that, like, you just see good teams early. We could meet the Elite Eight. Like, it's going to be a very interesting. Even with my top 8, I had the 5 because they typically make the tournaments they go to. But filling out the other 3 was extremely hard. 6 or 7 teams that were in there.
Yeah, I think it definitely can shake out in a lot of different ways. The way that I drew it out, so to speak, for it to fall, which again could go any which way from the 8, and from pool play in general, is I actually have Peachy Keen matching up with Shots Fired and Mile High matching up with All In. And I think that would leave as much as I'd like to pick our team, I think that Shots Fired practices 5 nights a week, and it's really hard to beat a group of women that practice together as an availables team. I think that's the camaraderie and just knowing one another and the way that everyone moves and is oiled is hard to do. So I do think that we're going to see a final between Mile High Club and Shots Fired, and I know both these teams are absolutely fantastic. I think it's a little bit of a grudge match just because there's been a lot of, even if it hasn't been those 2 established teams matched up, there's been that matchup before, as well as a lot of availables matchups through that in the finals. And I do think if everything, if everyone plays to their best, that Mile High Club can come away with it and take one back from Shots Fired. But I honestly wouldn't be surprised to see a lot of different things shake out this weekend. And if we see some teams that weren't even mentioned, I think a lot could happen. That would leave us with some of the same champions that we've seen throughout the year. The women's teams who have won this year are Mile High Club, Shots Fired, DMV 18, Sins, and Unleashed. So those are the 5 established teams, at least leading up to this weekend, who have won tournaments throughout this year. As we go into CCC, do you guys think that those are the 5 teams that stand to have a chance at CCC, or does it really not mean much besides, having won in the past this season going into it? What's going to happen at CCC? You don't have to give me your top 8 or 4, but who's going to make a run for it? Who's going to see, a really high chance of fighting their way to the finals? Last year, if everybody remembers, the finals were between All In and Bombshells, and All In ended up taking it. Neither of which have won a tournament this year. So, Tara, why don't you go ahead and give us your thoughts on CCC?
So I know Bombshells had won a tournament last year, but had All In prior to CCC? Do we know?
I don't think they had won a tournament. They had made it to the semis and the finals, but never actually won.
Okay. So my general answer before that question was even answered by you guys was no, I don't think it means shit. And that's because I've been to CCC as a team that literally never lost the game, and the first game we lost was at CCC. And also last year we were out in the quarters, I believe. So as the number 1 team going in, we haven't even made it to the semis or finals, or we haven't won the tournament. So I don't think prior rankings, which is what you get by having seasonal wins or whatever you want to call them, I don't think it means that much. I don't want to say that a 25 place team would win it, but I do think from, the top 10, 12 teams, like, if somebody upsets somebody and then gets the right side of the bracket, anybody could beat anybody. Girls are bunning down the line. There's not a charger out there if you paint the line that can throw you out. There's some that if you slightly miss the line will throw you out, but there's girls that are learning to kick. There's catchers and chargers cropping up everywhere, pitchers. So I don't think it's a guarantee for one of the top 5. I don't even think, I would actually say one of those top 5 maybe miss Elite Eight just because of the way girls tournaments have gone. And I think that's a testament to the fact that these teams that haven't really been on people's radars, that are putting in the time and going to practice and going to tournaments, they're cropping up and beating these other teams. And now you're starting to think about them. Practice is something that makes you good at this game. So if you go to more tournaments and you practice, you're going to get better. And teams have. I think the girls' side is a testament to that.
Absolutely. Becky.
Yeah, I mean, I think Atlanta's going to be good in terms of showing where people are leading up to CCC. What is it, like 6 weeks out or something like that? I know a bunch of us will be going to Vegas in between. But even add into Atlanta for CCC, you got to add in Sins, Wildfire, Valley Fever, Haboobs. There's so many other teams that aren't even making it to Atlanta on top of what's already such a stacked tournament. There, as Chad said, there are no guarantees. And I think we are going to see, just like we saw last year, right? I don't think going in anyone was thinking about all in. I'm sure people weren't really counting Bombshells to be in the finals either. And so Any Given Sunday, great movie, but it's also true. Like anything can happen. And I would agree. I think every championship has big upsets, right? Last year, we saw on the co-ed side with Sitch. We saw on the women's side with Mile High losing early. And I think it's just what it's about. That's what a tournament's there. That's why we play. So I agree. I think there's going to be a top 5 team that doesn't make Elite 8. And I would say there's a sleeper that could even make the Final Four. I don't necessarily know which sleeper, if we're talking as like these are the top 5 from Atlanta, right? That doesn't count Sins. Sins was a Final Four team last year. And so there's so much. The game for women's, I mean, I didn't see it a few years ago, but from what I hear, has just improved so much. And you can see it on the field. You can't take any game for granted. Like every team has at least a few pieces. They may not have all the pieces yet, but they're getting closer where you have to play. And if you don't play, then all of a sudden what could be a 5-0 game is 2-2. And those results can really skew when it comes to standings for elims. So I think CCC is going to be crazy fun, especially on the women's side. It's going to be a lot like that co-ed side where we see even from the 16 from first round of elims, upsets and just kind of results we wouldn't necessarily expect.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think very similar to what we were talking about of you don't know how the matchups are going to shake out for the 16s and for the 8s. And there's probably going to be 2 power teams matched up against each other that might make it, more beneficial for someone else, but also might really shake up who's going to those final rounds. Claire, what about you? What are your thoughts on CCC?
This will only be my second CCC, my 365 history, but I definitely agree with everything that Tara and Becca have said. It's just like you never really know what's going to shake out. Like I would never have seen Mile High going out last year. Like I didn't think about that. And I was going to ask the question about All In if I don't remember them winning a tournament and then they won the entire thing. Like I don't think anybody saw them coming through the way they did. Nobody thought about that. I didn't. And I'm brand new to this, but I don't think you can ever guarantee yourself a spot anywhere. You have to, I think with women's, it's all about the way you work, like the way you work in that moment and in that game. Like, I don't know, it's just, you have to leave it all out in every single game, no matter who you're playing. Not even if you think you're going to win, like Becca said, even if you think it could be like an easy 5-0 game or, 13-0 game, you have to literally give it all in that game, especially at CCC. So you guys all said it all. So.
No, totally. Those are great points. And I think there are women's teams that we haven't seen necessarily make the big run, but who possibly can. We've got the High Beams, the VJs, All In once again.
The Plastics.
Absolutely. There's Lisa Frank. I mean, there's all these teams, and sometimes they just have somebody else's number. And so depending on what those matchups look like, you just play teams a little bit tighter or a little bit differently, and the matchups look dissimilar to what they might look like elsewhere. So I agree. I think CCC is going to be very exciting. Atlanta might be what you call a little bit of a preview, but not exactly the same. And I think this weekend is going to be awesome. I think having 24 women's teams out to any tournament is fantastic. And I know that we're thinking about people in Atlanta and in Florida in general who have been working with power loss and evacuations, and hopefully being surrounded by some fun kickball people this weekend can make things a little bit easier. So shout out to everyone that's been working with their families and friends and coworkers and everything out there. And yeah, I think Atlanta's going to be absolutely spectacular. Looking forward to seeing all of you ladies there. And seeing what happens. I mean, it might even need a recap podcast depending on what happens after this tournament. If you guys have
spelling,
Do I?
No more spelling. That's my only thing.
Well, you can't win it all, Becca.
The next game, Macy, is whose walk-up song is this?
Oh, I would dominate. I have a total memory bank in my head. I could name you everyone's. Becca's is All of the Lights. Yours is I'm the One.
Yep.
Got you. Claire gets to experience it this weekend on co-ed with me. It'll be very fun.
It's totes the best.
It is. Kara, Becca, Claire, if you don't have any last words, thank you for being fantastic guests and playing along with all of the games. And see you ladies this weekend.
Yeah, see you in Magic City, bitches.
Can't wait. See you guys soon.